The Secrets of Life After Death. ACCIDENTS.INONDATION.TSUNAMI.TREMBRMENT from Congo. Episode 1. Welcome, beloved. The Lord took me to hell for 351 days and to heaven for 40 days. That day in prayer, when I first fell into a trance, I was breathing because I was not dead. They tried to wake me up. But that wasn't possible. Since I worked with pastors, they understood that the Lord was working with me. And every time I fell into unconsciousness, these men of God worked to keep my body in a private room. Welcome, brothers and sisters. I am Pastor Aston Mbaya of Sacred Chapel Church in Congo. Brother, no one has preached the gospel to me. I was in the bar with my friend drinking alcohol when suddenly I heard the voice of God calling me. I was stunned. I said, I'm not a Christian. But why is this God interested in me? I resisted the voice of God. And I said, I don't serve any God. But it was on that day that things completely changed. I gave my life to Christ. I was ordained by a man of God who trained me in the things of God. It is in this church that I serve God. It is the Lord who has charged me to bear witness to the things I have seen and about which I will speak. In fact, this encounter began one day while I was praying at night. As I continued to pray, I saw a light. When I wanted to check who lit the bulb above, I turned it off not long ago. That's when I saw an intense light. It was 100 times bigger than the sun. I couldn't look at this light and fell to the ground in a coma. This experience was not a death experience since I was breathing. It was a trance since I was raptured into the spirit and left my body as I collapsed to the ground. Immediately I heard a voice in the middle of a light calling me by name and saying, Aston, my son, you have been chosen by God to be a witness to what you are about to see. You will tell the world the secrets I am going to show you, and you will tell them that hell is real. Anyone who refuses to follow my path will fall into this horrible place. I was in a coma. But when I got up from the ground, I saw that I was standing. However, my body was still lying on the ground. I wondered what was happening to me. I was unable to touch physical things. I couldn't even touch my body because there's no connection between the living and the dead. I was confused. But every time I tried to touch things, my hand would pass through the material and physical things. The people sleeping in my room couldn't see my spirit. When I tried to open the door, I saw that my body was passing through the steel door, and I wondered. In fact, I had all my senses, my intellect, my memory, and my will, yet I couldn't touch anything. I was really disturbed by all these phenomena, and I started running around the neighborhood, and I was screaming for help. I went to my pastor and tried to talk to him, but he couldn't see or hear me. I went to see my brothers, but they couldn't see me. I went into the street shouting to my neighbors, I am the prophet Adam, come and see what is happening to me. But no one could hear me. Every time I saw living people on the street, I tried to tell them what was happening to me because I was really troubled and agitated. However, no one could hear me since I was in another dimension. I kept yelling for people to come see what was happening to me. As I moved down the street, I began to realize that I was moving at a high speed compared to the people who were alive. It was when I saw a man crossing me that I began to realize I was dead. Brother, I saw that this man was in the same situation as me. He was troubled and desperate, and he cried and talked to himself and asked, Why did you bury my body? I'm still alive. The man cried bitterly. I continued to move around the city, and I started seeing more people running around crying like me. They all complained that their families had buried their bodies. Brother, those people I saw on the street were actually dead. They were wandering spirits, for they were dead and their souls wandered the earth. I was also a wandering spirit like them. I realized that I was in the world of the dead like these wandering spirits. It was upon arriving at 18th Street on National Boulevard in the city that I met a late Christian singer who was notorious in the country. This servant of God was known and popular. When I met Brother Charles Momba, I saw that he was wearing shorts and his shirt was torn. When I saw him, I was amazed because he was a popular singer. Yet I saw that he was weeping and saying, Why did these people bury my body? I am alive. In fact, this singer had died and became a wandering spirit moving around the earth. Like all the dead people I encountered in the street, I tried to tell him to stop so we could talk. But he was so confused, he left in confusion. Then I arrived at a popular church in the city. This church was not of God, because I saw demons in this church trying to capture my soul. Quickly, I ran away in fear. As I continued to move around the city, I found myself in a different part of the capital. I saw a group of people walking. They were naked. When I looked again, I saw that these naked people had horns on their heads. There was a demon leading these witches. He was dressed in black. I saw that the demon who was the leader of these sorcerers was carrying pots containing human blood. It was obvious that I was actually in the spirit world, seeing what normal men cannot see. I saw that these naked wizards were dragging a tied man over the body. This captive was also tied around the neck with a chain like a dog. This captive soul was dragged like a dog through the street and moved on 4 legs. I heard him say, "Oh, my wife, you are a Christian. Get up and pray for me, your husband." These people have captured my soul, and they are leading my soul to destruction. Please, wife, I don't go to church like you, but please wake up and pray for me. I beg you, the mother of my children. Bad things happen to me. These sorcerers responded to this captive. Shut up and keep quiet. Your wife is not coming. As these horned people dragged this man away, I said to them, now you will stop this. What are you doing to this man? You must free this captive. Quickly. Their leader, who also had horns, looked at me, and he looked at these wizards and said to his servants, let's ignore him. We must move forward. This demon and the witches ignored me and continued to drag this captive with them. As they moved forward, I decided to follow them. I told them, you can free this man. We went to a place that looked like a resort. In the end, I saw these demons hang this man on a piece of wood. They slaughtered his body, and they divided his flesh, and I saw them consume his flesh, and they devoured his whole body. When I saw this horrible scene, I was afraid and ran away for fear of being devoured by these demons. As I moved, I saw people doing satanic and diabolical rituals in the middle of the boulevard, in churches, in public places, on top of trees. Some people were doing incantation. The souls of the dead wandered here and there. I ran away and ended up in the general hospital. When I entered the hospital, I saw 2 kinds of people. I saw the living and the dead moving around the hospital. I have seen physical beings and spiritual beings. When I entered the intensive care unit, I saw a doctor telling a group of nurses, our patient is dead. When the doctor spoke this way, I saw the dead patient sitting on the bed next to her body. And this woman said to the doctor, I'm sitting here on the bed. Why do you say I'm dead? You cannot see me? As this patient tried to talk to these nurses, I said to the doctor, you are making a mistake. She is not dead. She is alive. Can't you see her? Then I said to the young woman, tell them you are alive. You are not dead. The young woman told me, I tell them that I am alive. I think they are ignoring me and don't want to hear me. Then I saw the doctor informing her family that she had died, and the family started crying. I tried to tell this family that their daughter was not dead, but they couldn't hear me. The woman started talking to her family to tell them she was alive, but they couldn't hear her. Finally, this young woman told me, we are no longer in the world of the living. We are in the afterlife. We must go there. This woman held my hand, led me to a hospital morgue, where I saw many people with their hands on their cheeks thinking, and they looked sad. We asked one of them, why are you sitting here very sad? He said, I had an accident and was brought here to this hospital, but the doctor declared me dead. I told my family I wasn't dead, but they ignored me, and they buried my body. Since I have nowhere to go, I live here. The second man told us, I was sick, and I was brought here and I died. That's why I'm here. Beloved, I want to tell you that the spiritual world is real, and the physical world is just as real as the realities of the invisible world. There is a physical world, and there is a spiritual world populated by spiritual beings. I saw all these souls in the morgue, and they were complaining that their bodies had been buried and they were stuck here, and they were biding their time. When I was about to leave this hospital, I wanted to open the door. Quickly, I saw that my hand was going through the door, and I walked through the door. When I wanted to walk in the street, I saw that I was crossing and penetrating the walls of the houses. I was able to pass through the walls of the houses and saw people sitting and sleeping in their houses. I was indeed a bodiless spirit passing through the walls of many houses. I saw what was happening in people's houses, but no one could see me. I was moving at high speed. And then I found myself around our local cemetery. When I arrived at this cemetery, I saw a group of people coming out of the cemetery, and yet it was late at night. I saw that these people had spiritual and immaterial bodies instead of physical bodies. These people coming out of the cemetery were not ordinary humans. I was watching when I saw a man sitting in a chair at the entrance to the cemetery with a book that looked like a record book on his table. I saw that these entities coming out of a cemetery were standing in line in front of this man to sign his registration book before leaving the cemetery. These graveyard demons were about to come out to operate in the physical world. Beforehand, they had to write their names in the book before leaving the cemetery. When the first entity signed in the book, I saw it walk out of the cemetery into the middle of the street. I was observing this spirit. I saw that he took the sand from the ground and he splashed the sand into the air. I quickly saw this demon enter the sand and transform into a physical man. I saw that this demon was dressed in the human body thanks to the sand he had thrown into the air, and he had become a human since he now had the appearance of a human. The second entity that came out of the cemetery did the same process of splashing sand into the air, and it also became a physical human being. However, I saw that this entity had become a very beautiful woman with lots of hair. She wore tight clothes and held a bag like an earthly woman. I saw this woman, who was a demon, walking down the street at night when suddenly a passing driver stopped his car in order to make an advance on her without knowing that she was a demon, not a human being. Meanwhile, these demons kept coming out of the graveyard and they took human form and became physical. I saw one of these entities leave the cemetery with a photo of a dead man that he had taken from a grave. I saw this demon enter a photo of a deceased person. Immediately, he took on the appearance of the person in the photo, and he was exactly like the man in the photo. I was afraid of this terrible phenomenon. Meanwhile, many more demons were coming out of the graveyard to operate in our world, and I decided to run away. After moving away from this place, I arrived in another district of the capital. Even though it was late at night, to my surprise, I saw that there was a market with many people buying and selling. I said to myself, there is never a market here during the day and in the physical world. And where do all these people come from? Brother, it was a huge market full of people. I decided to leave. When I was leaving this market of witches and evil spirits, I saw a group of people coming towards the market. They had cotton in their ears and noses. I saw that they were removing this cotton from their noses and ears, and they were happy to join the market. I was amazed and kept running. I was crying and saying, "What is happening to me?" I ran around the city all night. I saw celebrities and popular people who were already dead. Their souls wandered around the city. These people were no longer physical because their bodies were already buried, but they had their senses, their memories, and their reason just like me. After running all over the city, I was so tired that I prayed. I said, "Lord, if I ever serve you, save me." When I said this prayer, quickly, a light came down from heaven, and I heard a voice in this light that came to me. The voice said to me, "My son, do not be afraid, for you are chosen by God to be a witness to the things you will see. And we will travel to hell so that you can tell the world that hell is real, judgment is real, and satanic power is real. Those who reject my ways will fall into this fearful place called hell. There is grace for the living to be saved, but there is no longer any chance for those who are dead." The Lord took my hand and said, "Now we must travel." And he took me to a high mountain where there were 2 chairs. I saw that the Lord wore a white garment and a golden belt with the inscription, "King of Kings and Lord of Lords." On his crown it was written, "The Lord Jesus Christ." Its body was transparent and golden. I could see him in all dimensions. The Lord was neither white nor black, but gold and shining. There was blood in the holes in his hand. The Lord showed me the earth that was in darkness. He asked me, "My son, what do you see?" I said, "I don't see anything." He then took a white stone out of his garment and placed it on my eyes. It was then that I was able to see the nations of the world. I saw men and animals. I have seen the minds of men and the hearts of men. I saw many people going to the cemetery to bury their loved ones, but I saw the souls of their loved ones above the coffin following them. These people who had died were trying to speak to their loved ones, to tell them that they were alive, but that the living could not enter and communicate among the souls of dead men wandering the earth. I saw a man who had died on earth. I saw that this man had chains on his body. There were chains on his neck, legs and feet, and I saw people dressed in black. These people were dragging this man chained like a dog. I said, "Lord, why are these men dragging this fellow around like an animal?" I asked Jesus, "Do you see what is happening to this man?" The Lord said, This man has been wicked in his life and has never repaid the people what he owes them. When he died, he was chained and dragged by these death demons. Then the Lord took me back in time to show me a traffic accident that had happened in our town. I saw a bus traveling on the boulevard. As the bus was moving, I saw an angel of death. He was dressed in black and he pushed the bus that was traveling on the boulevard. As a result, this bus collided with another car and there was an accident. When I saw this accident, I said, "Lord, I watched this accident in the past on national television." The Lord said, "My son, I have taken you back to the past so that you can see what happened on that day of the accident. When this accident happened, I saw the souls of the dead around this bus complaining about their deaths. These people had the shape of their bodies that had suffered blunt force trauma in the accident. They were shaped like bodies torn and mutilated from the accident. Jesus said, 'These people have not given their lives to God. That's why they complain.' You are going to tell the people of the world that there are only two universes after death, which are hell and God's paradise. These are people's destinations." The Lord said, "On earth, the wicked and the saints live together. But after death, the wicked will be brought to the abode of the dead, and the saint will dwell in the paradise of God. There is no middle ground." When the souls of the dead looked at their bodies in this accident, I saw an infernal vehicle from hell with 12 unclean spirits inside. The demons inside this vehicle of hell were clad in grey and had black crowns. I saw that they had pots of blood with them. Inside this vehicle, I could hear the secular music of earth playing. I heard the leader of these demons order them to collect human blood in their pots and capture the souls of these people who had died. These demons came from a world of Satan running on human blood, and wherever human blood has been spilled on earth, they come to collect it. When they collect human blood, people's lives become shorter. These demons often go to different hospitals to collect blood because the hospital is a blood supply place. This vehicle exuded devilish and cursed energy. When the infernal vehicle landed at the accident site, I saw these demons with their pots collecting human blood that had spilled in this bus. They took souls and left other souls behind. The Lord said, "Those who are left behind by these demons are people who died before the time appointed by God. Those who died in God's will as planned were taken to the abode of the dead. When people die before their time, they will wander the earth until they reach God's appointed time. This is why there are so many wandering spirits on earth. They cannot go to the abode of the dead until they have reached the number of years that God has given them. The Lord previously said that there are 5 major kingdoms of Satan. The first is the realm ruled by Code 333, which is the dimension of malice, jealousy, grudges, and malice. This is the kingdom that people have a bad heart for. They don't like their friends to prosper. They reject their friends' promotion. They feel pain when other people make a breakthrough. They envy the positions of others. These people have the mark 333 on their foreheads because they are influenced by the demons of wickedness and evil heart from Kingdom 333. When these people who have the mark 333 die, they will go to hell and be captured by the demons of Kingdom 333. Kingdom 333. There is also Kingdom 555, which produces Plate 555. These properties of Satan give legality to demons. This kingdom of Satan is for household items and food because they control the food, clothing, and plants we use on earth. Most of the foods people eat around the world are not foods. Often, companies made pacts with demons who multiplied the food they produced so they could supply the world with food. These demons are from Realm 555. They go to the graveyard and collect the bodies of the dead and turn them into canned meats and processed meat that we eat. These productions took place from September to February. They turn human parts into chickens. People who sell food and clothing sign alliances with the demons of the 555 realm because they deal in food. The other kingdom of Satan is the one governed by Code 666. They deal with the world system, trend, and pleasure of this world. The second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark 666 on their right hand or forehead so that no one could buy or sell without having the mark 666. Satan's other kingdom is Kingdom 777, which is the kingdom of domination and power. Most politicians work with the demons of this realm. Even pastors who aspire to have large churches and crowds work with this kingdom. There is also the kingdom of Satan Code 999. This is the kingdom that deals with inventions and technologies like Apple, Android, new media. I remember when the Lord took me into Satan's world, I saw a plasma television. The Lord said that this plasma television technology was used in Satan's world 3,000 years ago. It's because he's overwhelmed that they sent him to Earth. Whatever technology humanity uses today was all the rage in Satan's world hundreds of years ago.